God bless you and welcome to Viral Political Machine. Wait a minute, not always. Okay, everyone's connected now. This is Viral Political Machine and welcome to our second broadcast of this day. I shouldn't say second, right? You don't know. But in either case, let me take a few moments to share this on Facebook to the Viral Political Machine and get everyone into this broadcast today. We're going to do updates on the impeachment of a president, I should say the impeachment inquiry of President Donald J. Trump. So that's what we're going to do right now. And let me just set up something else which I like to do or need to do, which is my transcriber. Get that transcription going on here. Okay, very good. Thank you for joining us today. And we're at Google News, and so let's join Google News here in a moment. We're doing from the New York Times. We're going to see if we can use the New York Times. First of all, you got these guys online trying to get subscriptions, so hopefully we can get in to review the article, which is apparently we have. So let's do that today. Trump impeachment inquiry. Um, Again, it's not a Trump impeachment. So that's the first thing everyone needs to understand. And also, we're having trouble with chat. We're not seeing any chat, so don't bother. Unless you're on Facebook, you can chat there. I cannot respond, but I will see the comment later, so I can respond to you later. Everybody else that's not on Facebook, my chat thing here is not working, so it's just spinning around. So it's a Monday blues for it. So just that programming note. Remember, this is not an impeachment. This can lead to an impeachment, but it is not an official impeachment. This is why the Democrats, this is why uh, the GOP or Republicans are a bit in an uproar about this inquiry. It does not fit the normal procedures. However, the Democrats are presumably correct. I have to say that because I have not checked this out for myself. I'm just hearing from third parties, and we all know, if you saw my teachings yesterday and the week before, we have to be careful about raising false news, right? So again, I'm telling you, I haven't checked this out for myself. Apparently, the House can determine for itself, I guess, on the fly, what it's going to do, and I can see it doesn't have to follow precedents per se. It could just do whatever it wants to do, which is it's can be a little bit political or more or less. So it opens itself up. In other words, the House can act politically biased. It reserves the right to act politically biased. And I think that's something that both sides would have preserved in the House rules. That liberty for political expedience is the nature of the animal. So, can they do an impeachment inquiry? The House can do what it feels like doing. Basically, is what they're saying. But what matters here most, really, is what the people understand, and I think that's what most of us and most of you who are watching me or watching this video later on, you need to realize that the House and the Senate, they have amplitude, which means space, to do things in a political nature, not in business, not in Senate business, not with in terms of the legality of things or the legal scope, but they, being political parties, they have incorporated or allowed to permeate the the procedures and the existential reality of Congress to admit or to incorporate its political nature. So, what we have here is just like when you see political campaigns, you see the ability or the availability, the predisposition for political infighting to pervade and to influence the day to day workings of government in the sense of the Congress, the House, the Senate, politics. Okay. So, what does that mean for us folk out here? It means that when you see that the House or the Senate is doing something, you have to, as American citizens, we need to make ourselves aware or be cognizant that some of what we're hearing, some of what we're seeing is political positioning, it's political manipulation. That some of what we're hearing is an attempt by one or other parties to influence the thinking, the mind of the American population, of the voters, because that's all really the political positioning deals with, really, is what the voters are going to opine. You have to take everything then with a grain of salt, and you have to be uh, analytical, you have to be careful at what you're absorbing or allowing to believe and follow through. If you see my teaching on Sunday, you'll see why that's an important aspect, especially for Christian folk, folk who believe in God, folk who feel that they are serving God or they have some type of accountability with the Creator. You really need to see my teaching this Sunday, past Sunday, entitled Trump Sins, and Trump Sins 2, and the previous one, False Reports and Mass Evil and Trump Sins. That's the first part of that, which was last Sunday, for you to get the gist of the what's important really and how come this is a really important aspect. It's so important because many of you or have fallen victim to being easily manipulated by savvy politicians and political philosophy, using political philosophies and imposing it upon you in your parties. So you have to, again, if you're in a political party, you are already predisposed to being allowing manipulation, brainwashing, even from those that you allow through your filter. You've already said, I have a filter, I have a certain leaning and perspective that I will filter out the information that I receive. And we do that as simple minded, and I'm not meaning that offensively, I'm meaning that objectively, that you understand what that is. We have to call things what they are. in order for you to gain understanding and have power. Because if you don't have understanding of what you're doing and the words that you're using and the words that you're allowing to be defined by whomever, then you are giving up power to those who know. And you are simply a slave. You're simply a drone following whatever is said that comes through the filters you put up as a replacement for intelligence. I got to say it like it is. When you are lacking intelligence, you need filters. See, filters away, it's like a dumb way of protecting yourself. And if the issue is who am I going to believe, the dumb way, this affects religion, affects everything, everything. So that we put up filters. One of the easy filters that we put up is groups. We join groups that think like we do, that say things that we can understand, and then since we understand this, we believe it. Understanding is not equal to truth, and that's what you have to you have to know. I was about to say understand, but of course that, but you have to realize that just understanding a thing does not mean just, and that's again your opinion that you understand it. We're not talking about everyone agrees you understand this. Then if we have consensus of what if that 2 plus 2 equals 4, then okay, this is an accepted understanding. Okay, but we're not even dealing with that, and that's a problem in itself. But we're not even going there right now. We're just simply dealing with the simplicity of you thinking, you as an individual thinking that you understand this thing, and these other people in this group also have the same understanding. They're right. I'm right, they're right. So this is the group that I want to be listening to. And this is a simple way of unintelligent people to feel empowered and feel that you're right. We're right. We were thinking alike. This is the right thing, and now we don't have to worry about if I'm right or wrong. You see, no, we don't need to worry about that, because the group says that this is right. This is the right thing, and the news I hear from my favorite news channel says the way that I feel. You see this, even the news channel, now that I stepped into that, the news channels are pretty much um, focused within a certain filter, a certain perspective. They make the news in a certain color. No longer are they not biased. Now they have opinions. The anchors are opinionated, and they tend to shape their news in terms of opinion. I think Sam Shepard was released from Fox News recently, and what frustrated a lot of folks, I remember getting frustrated with Sam too, was that at 3 o'clock he had a breaking news show. It wasn't for commentary. Somehow Sam wanted to be a commentator. So I could swallow a little better some of the other commentators, even Megyn Kelly, when she was doing her thing and she was attacking Trump. I could accept, because she that was her show. She has an opinion. She's a human being, just like I accept Trump and whatever he says, because he's a human being. He has an opinion. People are in an outroar or not, or yeah, uproar, and they're outraged that a president can have an opinion. I mean, who's the first president in your mind that who's ever expressed their honest opinions to openly to the world? Think about it. I know it made you stop to think, because you see that's the issue. The issue is that Trump and Twitter and that relationship with Twitter, for example, it's a new thing. I mean, it was available before Obama and whatnot. These again, they were these platforms and social media is it still relatively a new thing. It's mainstay right now, but especially in the previous years, I mean, it was developing technology. You know that this is something that's like new. So the only person that you before we only heard presidents at the fireside, chat. That was a new thing. Oh, the president now is sitting in front of a fireplace. That would have been if that was Trump back in the day. I mean, look at Trump now. What is he doing? Trying to manipulate the people, trying to become a homie with the people, and making them feel that he's a good guy. He's sitting in front of the is in a lounge chair and a smoking jacket in front of the fireplace. He would have been criticized for that. And now we have, and again, I'm not pro Trump and trying to present it in a pro Trump manner. I'm just saying it like it is. It's simply, presidents along the way have introduced new ways of communication when it was made available. Imagine the first president to get on TV when it became available. Oh, he's on TV. He's trying to influence the election. When TV started coming out, it gets silly. It's getting silly. Now we have Twitter. So he uses Twitter, and now we have also not just that he uses Twitter, but he's so comfortable with himself. Actually, he's not worried about how is this going to sound or how is this going to look. He's lived his private life all his life, and that now at the golden age, he just says it like he has always said it. And people are really uptight about this public opinion. I mean, what would you rather have? That he keep it to himself? Think about it. Think about it. You see how silly that is? He should keep it to himself. Does that make it any better? Uh, Whatever you feel is wrong with what he said, why would it be any better if he just kept it to himself? That you didn't have to deal with it or face the facts? As a psychotherapist, I don't agree with that. I mean, you're asking, even as a minister, because what you're doing is it's hypocritical. You rather have someone who's a hypocrite and says whatever you like to hear, but the truth of what they feel and what they have in their heart, you'll never know. That's what you rather have. That's what you rather have as your politicians, and probably the ones who you follow are that way. So, which is better? People who follow false politicians who are only saying what they feel people would like to hear, or people who are following someone who tells it like it is without regard to what anyone thinks, telling the truth, telling what he feels. That's it. What he feels in his heart. Which is better? I suggest that the latter is better than the former. And the American population has, up to now, only had politicians which were diplomatic, which only said certain things, which were palatable for, I guess, most of everyone in the country and whatnot. But we didn't really know what was going on truthfully, and those things are the things that shape decisions that the president would make. So all I'm saying, and not that you have to agree with Trump at all. But at least with Trump, you know where he's coming from. At least with Trump, he might be the first president that the American population actually knows what's on his mind and what he's really about. Okay, so I think that deserves a little bit of of, of appreciation or gratitude. At least you know what he's thinking. Okay, you don't have to agree with it. Just understand we have truth, we have clarity, we have really transparency, maybe for the first time. So, what about this impeachment thing? So, again, there is no impeachment happening right now. That's the fact. The impeachment inquiry is just a inquiry. The inquiry means, should we go for impeachment or shouldn't we? So again, in the light of a political environment, this then amounts to nothing more than a political game. Doesn't mean that it may not come to a vote in the future. It means that right now, though, right now, this is a political game. That's what you have to see. Impeachment inquiry. Okay, so all of this is intended to do is to make for headlines, and he created this video right now. But every paper in the country, every news uh, outlet in the country and in other places in the world, obviously, have something to talk about. It's the impeachment inquiry. This is a thing. And of course, people who are just simply repeating what their leaders are saying, their political party leaders and whatnot, they have fodder. They have something. Oh, his impeachment is he's getting impeached, which is not true. It's not correct. He may be getting impeached later, but not now. Now it's just an inquiry. See, so don't see, but look at how they're making, you know, you guys are entitled to your opinion, which is another stupid statement to make, and I'm sorry I made that. Because it's a common phrase which is not correct. An opinion is only can be had by an expert, by the way. I know you guys think that everyone has an opinion. That's not true. Everyone doesn't have an opinion because they're not an expert. Only experts can have opinions, okay? But everyone has a view. The view is either educated or not, or ignorant. So let's correct that by saying everyone has their own view. So you can have your own view and whatnot, but the issue is, what is the truth of the matter? And the truth of the matter, regardless of what you're reading and hearing and whatnot, there is no impeachment going on. Okay, the impeachment is a different process. It has a set process, a set procedure. This isn't it. Okay, this is an inquiry. So this is, and why did they do the inquiry instead of going for the impeachment? I seem to recall Pelosi not wanting to go to impeachment. Remember that? She was against that. We shouldn't go towards impeachment. I guess why shouldn't she want that? The only reason that I can see is that she knew or understands enough politics to have gathered that by impeaching Trump, the Democrats would have suffered to a gigantic or great degree. It's the only I can't imagine any other reason why Pelosi. I mean, Pelosi's not in bed with Trump. I mean, Pelosi, she wouldn't be trying to protect Trump. right? Pelosi, what she's a Democrat, and she's the speaker. She has no, there's no lost love here. This is simply Pelosi is a strategist. Many years of experience, not to imply anything about her age or anything, but simply if she knows what she can do. Usually these House speakers are selected because they know how the political workings, work towards effectiveness and efficacy. So in her experience, her expert experience, impeachment was a terrible idea and still is for the Democrats to try to pull. Then we saw that she kind of like flipped, and that's what the news people started saying, that Pelosi flipped. She didn't. She didn't flip. She was always against impeachment for her understanding of how it would affect the Democrat Party, because she doesn't have to care about the GOP. She just has her job's to care about her party, and impeachment was not the way to go, in her opinion. And she's an expert about her party and politics for her party. But an impeachment inquiry is not an impeachment. It's an inquiry. See? So Pelosi then favored this. So it was kind of like, you guys want blood. The blood is going to be bloody on us. I'm not going to go that way. But why don't we have an inquiry if we can have blood? And Pelosi said, an inquiry. We're just looking to see if we can have blood. Okay, because it's an inquiry. And that way we have news. We are on the front page almost every day, straight through the election, trying to keep something, because remember, Mueller lost. That the Mueller thing failed. That was ahead of the news every day, until Mueller came and gave up the goods. Nothing. Now what do we do? But you have to look at the timing. If you don't look at the timing, then you don't know. You're letting them manipulate you easily, because you're not paying attention to when things happen. So then, now comes this inquiry. All of a sudden, after the Mueller, because while Mueller thing was going on, no one was saying nothing. There were no whistleblowers. I mean, it was just, let's wait for Mueller. Let's wait for Mueller. Now Mueller collapsed, and then now all of a sudden, whistleblower. Oh, something happened now, and now we have to have an inquiry. So now they have this inquiry, and Pelosi said, okay, we can have the inquiry. And here we are. And so now we have something ongoing. This is ongoing. Imagine that. It's been ongoing. Something has been ongoing against Trump since even before he got elected. Still ongoing. He will serve out his 4 years. Okay, and we still have ongoing. See, don't you see a problem? The impeachment thing wasn't supposed to be dragging out for 4 years. Trying to get Trump removed from office for valid reasons shouldn't take a whole term. And what's the point? Think about that. What is the point of having a process to remove a president, but it takes longer than he is president? What's the point? Don't you see that if there was anything of value, anything real in this, he would have been out. The whole point of of impeachment and checks and having Congress checking things and verifying and policing the government and each one checking and balancing each other. The whole purpose is not to allow something to go on longer than they are empowered to be so in government. It's like ridiculous. So here we are. When it came Clinton's time to get impeached, he got impeached during his presidency because it doesn't take that long to find impeachable evidence if it exists and to impeach the president. It does not take 4 years to take out a sitting president if he did some. Look at Nixon. It doesn't take his whole presidency to remove a president. Here we are. I never heard things against Nixon. I may have been too young to like be connected enough to know, but I don't recall a lot of things against Nixon for all his presidency. And then finally, they got this Watergate. We never had that. This is weird. It's just strange. And again, if you're still going by your filters, then that's what you have. You have your filters. So you say, no, it's not strange to me. He's a liar. He's an idiot. He's this. He's that. People voted for him are idiots. You guys are just repeating the same garbage that has no substantiation. It's the same thing the reason why Trump is still in the White House today. You guys put him there. I really frankly believe that you guys put him in the White House. And I've always said it. Keep up the criticism because you got to understand something. Bad news does not necessarily result in negative outcomes for the person you're talking about. You have to be careful. Things have to be real, not imagined, not opined. It can't be a point of view. No matter how negative your point of view on something, doesn't validate it. And the amount of people saying it does not make it a truth. So and what happens is that when it is discovered that what is being said, even if everybody says it, is not true, then it loses its potency completely. Of course, you have people who will always deny and say we still need more research, and other scientists agree that this is like that, and I think they're right. You can always come back and try to save face. I call that saving face when the evidence shows that you're wrong. But who are the ones who are saving face? Who are the ones who have been saving face since 2016? The same ones who are saying that Trump is getting impeached. That this is an impeachment. It's not. It's an impeachment inquiry. Trump is still the president of the United States of America. And until he isn't. And that is simple as can be. Okay. What's going on with this Trump impeachment inquiry? Let's look at the article here and the Times. Okay. And I have something else that's going to pop up there. Sorry about that. One moment. I see, because I had changed that. So let me just, I'm going to have to add, what's that, a display capture. So let me add a display capture for you. Ignore that, what's on your screen. I'm just going to put a display capture, see that the display capture is working. So I'm going to bring that in, and that's okay. And here we go. All right, I'm going to put that a little lower there. All righty. So what we have here says a key witness ignored a subpoena and refused to testify before the House impeachment investigators, citing President Trump's orders that he not cooperate. What's going on right now, according to the Times, Democrats warn that a former Deputy National Security Advisor risks being held in contempt of Congress after he refused to appear on Monday to testify in the impeachment inquiry. Um, Here's the review of what you need to know. Um, Again, you see that it says catch up on impeachment. Well, of course, we already discussed that this is not an impeachment. It's an impeachment inquiry. What you need to know about the inquiry. So let's see if they have that as part of this article here. Yeah, catch up on impeachment. What you need to know about the inquiry. President Trump repeatedly pressured President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine to investigate people and issues of political concern to Mr. Trump. See, this is a problem here. If you don't read the news like I'm doing it now, you don't understand squat. You're a puppet and easily manipulated. You have to stop and question things. It says, and issues of political concern to Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump is the President of the United States. Now, are the questions that he raised solely of concern to him personally, or do they have impact, or are they of concern to our national sovereignty and safety, our security? Which means the reason there's certain people who got in trouble, right? General Flynn, what's the other guy with the campaign director? What's his name there? What the campaign director got in trouble in the Mueller investigation, right? He was a consultant, and he was making money by being a consultant, political consultant, and whatnot for other countries. One of them was the Ukraine. They got in trouble because of the so-called way it looked, or the way they handled funds, etc., etc., etc. The way they reported funds as opposed to how much they actually received, and stuff like that. This seems to have some importance to the way we do our politics here in the US. For Mr. Trump to inquire about the son of Biden, Hunter Biden, when it's apparently Hunter Biden had no qualifications really to be in the positions and earning the income he was earning, unless there was some type of reasons that he had access to some information, or access to some political pundit, some political or political official. Who could that be? That Hunter Biden would have influence. Don't you see? If this was Trump Jr., who was working with Ukrainian authorities, political people, people working with large utilities in the Ukraine, things doing business worldwide, and right. If it was Trump Jr. and Trump was the president already, well, back then, or he is now, wouldn't that be something that they would be investigating? Just a question. Of course, because they would say that Trump Jr. used his daddy's political influence to get into these positions. And then the question would be, well, how is the United States and the president, particularly the office of the presidency, and by virtue thereof, the United States of America, how are we compromised through that type of occurrence or that type of relationship? Well, here we have the same thing with Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden working, and I'm sure there are others from your favorite political people working here in the Ukraine and could easily be working because of their supposed influence with key political figures that we all know and love here in the United States. And how does that compromise us? This is the thing you have to realize. So if it's isn't it, since we're investigating Russian collusion, since we're investigating other countries influencing our political leaders, isn't that what we're looking at? It's not just Mr. Trump, is it? It's our political leaders and our political system. Isn't the president doing his job in defending this country, which is his obligation? He swore to on the Bible to defend this country from enemies within and without. That means inside our country and outside. To investigate or have people investigate whomever to find out if there is any type of influence peddling going on with key political figures. It has, what does that have to do that he's running for president? Again, that's a political consideration. It's a political consideration. But regardless if they're running for president or not, isn't it a an important thing to research and to investigate? Of course it is. Of course it is. So, like I said, I'm not telling you, hey, Trump is not doing this for personal. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it could also be and should be rightfully that he is performing his duty as president of the United States. Hey, you guys are looking for a Russian collusion. Well, what is this? I mean, what do you expect? What would you do if people were hounding you day and night for 3 years straight about collusion? They decapitate your lead campaign director manager because of something similar. What would you be doing? You'll ask the question, where's Hunter Biden? They all know. The question wasn't that he didn't know. They all knew. And there are others working here and there. Influence peddlers. So again, is this something that falls within the potential of being something that is supposed to be investigated and looked at by somebody in government? And the answer is yes, absolutely. So that's it. So as long as that exists, that this is something that has to be looked into, because even Mueller looked into similar things with other people that he was focused on. He didn't bother focusing on Biden or anything because his subject was Trump. But if it was important for the Democrats to look for this type of thing with Trump, then it should be important to the Democrats to look for this type of thing with anyone, any other politician. Why is it only just Trump? Just Trump. But any other politician, even those running now for the presidency of the United States, it's okay. No, no. That's dishonest. That's totally dishonest, and that's what you have to also take note of. So the other thing they say here is a CIA officer who was once detailed to the White House filed a whistleblower complaint on Mr. Trump's interactions with Mr. Zelensky. And again, this has been talked about often, and the transcripts were released. And you don't really see focus on the transcripts. They're only focusing on the opinion, again, the view, the point of view of this so-called whistleblower's complaint. And that's all that is. It is a view which the Adam Schiff and the Democrat side is solely focusing on a point of view of somebody who had a view. And that's the basis upon which they are holding the impeachment inquiry. And that's what all of this is orchestrated on. Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced in September that the House would open a formal impeachment proceeding in response to the whistleblower's complaint. So, again, she said it was a formal impeachment proceeding, but in fact, it is an impeachment inquiry. Okay, and when they say formal, it just means that the House is doing it. So anything the House does is formal. It's not informal. It's formal. That's all. But is it an impeachment? No. It is an impeachment inquiry. So you have to question everything that does not state exactly impeachment is anything but an impeachment. Impeachment this, impeachment that, impeachment question, impeachment investigation, impeachment research, impeachment review, impeachment preview, impeachment preamble, impeachment ponderings, impeachment rondering. All of that are not impeachment. They are something else other than an impeachment. House committees have issued subpoenas to the White House, the Defense Department, the Budget Office, and other agencies for documents related to the impeachment. It's not a period. Impeachment investigation. Okay? So again, it's everything but an impeachment. It's not an impeachment. Even Pelosi, a formal impeachment proceeding. It's a proceeding, okay, which is an impeachment proceeding. Okay, it's not an impeachment because when it is an impeachment, then it is a formal impeachment. Period. That's it. Because impeachment, it's what it is. Let's look at what impeachment means, actually. Impeachment is the process. It's the process by which a legislative body levels charges against a government official. Impeachment does not in itself remove the official definitively from office. It is similar to an indictment in criminal law, and thus it is essentially the statement of charges against the official. So that's what an impeachment is. So at the end of the day, so impeachment is the process by which the body levels charges. Okay, so that is it, and that's all it is. So people have to understand what an impeachment is. I think most of the people using the word impeachment don't know what impeachment means. It doesn't mean removal from office. Trump can get impeached tomorrow and he will still be in the office of the president come election day. So, and then what happens when the people vote him in again? Because that impeachment only lasts until election day, until the new president is again sworn in. So they can impeach President Trump. Actually, they have to. I'm pretty sure. I have to do this research myself. What happens if they don't impeach him before election day or before the handover of government to the new president? And if it's Trump again, what happens? And they can in no way, I don't see how they can carry through an impeachment to the next election, the next 4 years. They have to do this thing now. They have to get it done before election day because it doesn't matter. Don't you see that? It doesn't matter either way it is now because he would have been impeached during his term, his first term. The second term is a new term. As far as the way I understand how this would work. But I would have to get, and if someone knows out there, I would have to do some more research on that and probably do that later on today. But if he gets re-elected, which is in all estimation, and by the facts and the numbers right now, Trump is getting re-elected. I don't think the impeachment, if it ever occurs before the next term, matters. It really doesn't matter. So, so what? So again, it's this is again since it's just leveling of charges. Hey, we got this thing against you, and that's the end of the impeachment. That's all the impeachment could ever be. Um, what's the point? What's the matter then? You have to understand that at that point, the only thing that has happened that they've been able to accomplish is list the charges. These are the things we hold against you, President Trump. These are the charges against you. You were a bad boy. This is what you did, and we find this against you. And it's like an indictment. In other words, you still need to go to a trial, innocent until proven guilty. Oh, yeah, we're in the United States, aren't we? Right. So people get indicted every day in the court. Have you ever done jury duty, grand jury duty? Did you do you have to do the? Let's see here. Well, if you've done, was it the grand jury? Yeah, I think so. The grand jury, right? Because it's not a special grand jury; it's just regular. So I've done grand jury duty in New York State, and we go through all the cases that come in, and an indictment when the DA brings in an indictment, it means that we have a jury has decided, you know what, those charges should go to court, right? They should go to court. The person is still not guilty. We're not saying he's guilty. The whole part of the indictment, all the indictment, see, now we have to teach you guys about law. All the indictment does or says is that there is enough evidence according to the law for this case, for these charges, to move toward a court of law where a jury can then consider all of it and hear the arguments and then decide if we have an innocent person or we have a guilty person. That's the way it works. So even an indictment against Trump in terms of these impeachment proceedings and impeachment inquiry only produces an indictment that a court would have to then hear with a jury, or even if the judge is the only is the judge and jury. I don't know how that would work with and the president being involved. But in either case, it still goes to court. It has to go to court if it even is taken to court for anything to come out of it. So even I don't think Clinton was taken to court. Was he? Does anyone know? You can't chat with me now, but I've not heard that Clinton was sent to court with the impeachment that he did suffer. He suffered an impeachment, and he was impeached. He still was the president of the United States. And after he wasn't president of the United States, there was no court case. There was nothing more. Again, so impeachment, if anything, is only a political tool. It's only a negative strike at worst. It's just, oh, President Trump got impeached by Congress. That's like a strike against him. Yeah. He was president. He finished being president, which he will, either in the 4 years and most likely in after 8. And what the history books would say simply is that during his first 4 years, he was hunted down like a dog by the Democrats, and they finally were able to deliver an impeachment, which they can't without having the Republicans go ape crazy and vote along with them. So that's that. So where's the hot dog here? There is no here. There is no there. There's nothing to this. It is simply political gameplay. That's all. That's all it is at the final analysis. Impeachment inquiry. It's really just silliness. And I see people banding about impeachment. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You're just making a lot of fake news about something that really doesn't matter in the end of the day. President Trump still takes home his paycheck. And after the impeachment, will continue to take home his paycheck. Oh, wait, he doesn't accept any money for being president. So it doesn't matter at all. Nothing. It's truly just ridiculous. It's truly just ridiculous. So if you want to waste time, if you want to participate in the mass move towards evil and for being just so evil and hateful, to save face, there's no other reason, then impeachment is the name of the game for you. If you want to be an honest person and a person of integrity and a person of truth, impeachment, it's not a thing. And this thing against Trump is what he described it as. And my next video today, I'm going to talk about lynching. That's the bell to get off the air and eat something. So that's what I'm going to do. Take care. Call from.